Shwmai a croeso cynnes, and welcome to the What's Your Story podcast. I'm James Owen, a Welsh filmmaker and storyteller, and I'm passionate about sharing stories. This podcast is all about business owners sharing their journey, and we'll be speaking with directors, entrepreneurs and creatives from all across Wales to learn from their experiences. We believe everyone has a story to tell. What's your story? Shwmai a croeso cynnes, welcome to the next instalment of What's Your Story. And I'm really excited to be in the studio today because we're actually in a new place. We've moved out of the Stori Cymru office to our new studio space, and it's exciting to have another local Llanelli business owner. Today we've got a young lad who's a little bit younger than me, still playing rugby. I'm kind of jealous. I've got Ioan Dillon who's with me today from Lean Kitchen. Croeso cynnes, thank you for coming down, Ios, on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Excited.
You're welcome. Ti'n mynd i wneud hwn yn Gymraeg?
Lai ti?
Nah, it was a joke.
Yeah.
I think most of our audience are English speaking.
I don't mind.
Although maybe we'll do a Welsh
easy.
episode.
Episode 2 then.
Episode 2 next year, falle. Gan I weld. No, thank you for coming down. I've been I've been watching your progress over the years, and to see you grow your business is something that's inspired me, and we need more people like you doing good things in Llanelli. But Lean Kitchen, we're going to unpack that story a little bit, but for the listeners and for those watching on YouTube and Spotify, could you maybe just give us a flavour, in summary, in a couple of sentences, what is Lean Kitchen?
So we're a meal prep service who will prepare your meals for the week for you. So if you were to order direct on our website, you'd pick up on a Sunday or get them delivered, and then you'd have your week's worth of meals then in the fridge. So helping you stay on track, saves you time, money, etc. And then we sort of changed, we added a new concept to the business probably about 2 years ago now, where we stock fuel stations, gyms, shops, to make healthy eating as accessible as we can for people, really.
Brilliant. And for me as a busy business owner, I think I'm going to be ordering some Lean Kitchen boxes soon. Any discount for Stori Cymru listeners?
Well, we can sort something, I'm sure.
Sort something out. But and how long has Lean Kitchen been going?
Over 4 years, about 4.5 years now in total since the start. Yeah, since I took the business on from Steph, which was at his early stages. So yeah, I've had it for about 4.5 years now. Which, I was doing my A-levels at the time, which was tough. I've been there. I mean, I didn't finish my A-levels, but I almost didn't. It's a miracle how I did, to be honest. Stradi did everything they could to keep me there, and they did. So I don't regret it now, because looking back, I've got my grades, got 3 years of my A-levels. So I've always got them to fall back on if needed as well then.
So somebody who went to ysgol gyfyn Ystrade as a young lad, what were your sort of aspirations growing up? Did you ever think growing up you'd be a business owner?
I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur since I was small, before I even knew what entrepreneur meant. Because obviously my father, my stepmother own a business. They sell cars in Carmarthen. My mother's very hardworking as well. She's got a good job. So I've always been very driven with work. Always wanted to work for myself, and this is all I've ever really done from a young age. Yes, it's hard. It's got its pros and cons, obviously, but I wouldn't change it. So
talk me through, if you were always aspiring to be an entrepreneur of some sort, and growing up, finishing school, tough being there. I was there. It was tough being in sixth form, studying my A-levels, probably enjoyed life a bit too much. But yeah, you had this aspiration of being an entrepreneur. So how did it start with Lean Kitchen? Did you start another business before Lean Kitchen? What was the sort of story about starting your own business?
So during COVID, I was buying and selling a lot of gym equipment. So I was still doing my A-levels. And obviously gyms closed, so I thought, how can I act on this? Always trying to think outside the box. I was going on Facebook Marketplace, refreshing every 5 minutes. Any bit of equipment on there, I'd buy it, I'd go with my little Corsa, pick it up, take it home, photograph it, put it up for like double the price. Unethical, I know, but it made money. And I'd list it, and it'd go within the hour because people were training at home. So I did this a few times. I bought like a cable machine for £300, sold it the next morning for £800. Did that a few times in COVID, which then allowed me to have the money then to buy Lean Kitchen off Steph when I was in the position. It was probably right thing, wrong time, but I tried my best to make it the right time as well.
So the gym business then, what would you rate that as a scale of 0 to 10, being 10 a good success? What would you rate that?
Well, at the time, I knew I had to ride the wave while it lasted, really. I knew it wasn't sustainable because when gyms reopened, everyone's trying to flog their gym equipment they'd bought. So I just tried to make a bit of money on the side whilst it lasted, really. Just acted on something in the opportunity. And yeah, I've needed something more permanent then, obviously, which was when I started Lean Kitchen.
So Lean Kitchen, it wasn't your idea that you would birth. You were working with Stefan, who created it at the time?
Yeah, so I had a text in COVID from Steph asking if I could go up to the play centre for a chat. And this was in the middle of lockdown, so I thought, what's going on here? So I went up and he had this idea. So we worked it together with his manager, just the three of us. Built it up over the few weeks he was there, and then his play centre was allowed to reopen then. So he didn't have a kitchen. So he mentioned to me he may think of selling. He was maybe thinking of selling it. So I said, look, I'd be interested. And he was a bit shocked at the start, but fair play to him for trusting me, because he had a few offers, but he trusted me, which fair play to him because I was only young, didn't have a chef, didn't have a kitchen. I was moving it to a new location from Carmarthen to Llanelli. So he did show a lot of faith in me there, in all fairness, to make it work. Because obviously his name was linked to it in a way as well. So
it's always been Lean Kitchen. The brand name hasn't changed in any way.
Brand logo still stayed the same. Try to be as consistent as we can with that. Haven't changed any of it really. Just websites had a little revamp over the years. You know, photographs have changed over the years. New recipes, things like that have changed. But yeah, the principles are all still the same.
So how old were you when you actually bought the business then?
I just turned 18. So I was 18 in September, and I bought it in October.
When you say bought, right? Because a lot of people, I hear this a lot where people buy businesses, but you actually handed over money at a business transaction to buy, whether that's the IP, the equipment, and all this. You actually did that yourself at 18.
Yeah, which was risky. A lot of people doubt it as well, including my parents, including myself.
Well, your parents being business owners.
Yeah,
what was their advice? Don't do it.
Up in the air. They were like, you've got your A levels through first. To support me, no matter what I do, and they said that from the start. But yeah, they were worried about me more than anything. I think making sure I wasn't doing the wrong thing, because obviously if I wanted to go to university, that was out the window. It was a huge decision because all my eggs were in that basket. Then there's a lot of money to spend for nothing. I didn't make it work.
And that was 2020 you bought the business? So talk me through then, what did your first year in business look like in Lean Kitchen? You brought Lean Kitchen from Carmarthen to Llanelli. What did that first year of business look like?
I was quite fortunate really that COVID happened because pubs had to close and things like that. So I pounced on that idea as well, that the kitchen's empty. So I messaged them, Clockwork Tavern opposite Nando's. It's closed now.
Yeah.
It's now opulence.
Yeah.
Messaged them of Clockwork Tavern. I said, look,
Damien another time, was it?
No, it was another two people in there as well, Richard French and Hugh. So I spoke to them and I said, look, I know your pub's empty. Do you mind if I use the kitchen, pay you rent for my business? Because we're allowed to operate. There's no COVID restrictions for us. Well, there was in ways, but we were allowed to operate. And they said, yeah, crack on, we're empty. You can rent it off us. So I started there. Again, that pub was allowed to reopen eventually, so I didn't have a kitchen. So we moved then to the tennis club, which is a bit of a smaller kitchen, but it had a lot of space for us to package the food and things. We soon outgrew that kitchen then as well.
How long were you there? Tennis club?
It's all a blur now, to be honest. A fair few months. We were there a while. Met great people there along the ways. Like Josh Adams came to get meals there once. A lot of people, like Lean Kitchen started to go up there, I think. That's where the growth really started to come in the tennis club. And that's where then we moved to Robert Davis Gym, where I had to buy a bit more of my own equipment, and that's when it was getting serious. I think that's where I finished school then completely. So it was time to really take it to the next level.
So you finished school, you did your A-level, unlike me, you actually finished your A-levels, and you had a business.
Yeah.
So what was sort of next for you in the dream of being an entrepreneur? What was the next stage of growth for Lean Kitchen?
So the meal prep was operated on weekends because I was still in school Monday to Friday. So I thought, right, I got a week now to spend my time elsewhere instead of doing homework and all that nonsense. So I thought, how can I spend it? So I thought I'll open a cafe. So I had a kitchen in at Robert Davis Gym and a cafe separate. Cafe was good, but I found it was making money, but I found I could spend this time better elsewhere because we had leftovers before for the meal prep. and I messaged Darwin Garage, which is how we started with the stockists. So I messaged them, do you want to start selling meals? They went like that. Did another cook day for them. They went like that. And the numbers just going up and up and up. This is when I still had the cafe as well. So I was doing Darwin Garage, had the cafe and the meal prep. And I thought, I'm going to knock this cafe on the head and just try and get as many fuel stations and shops as we can. So the concept for us works much better. We go in, cook X amount for the shops. We know what we're doing. We load the shops up and we go home. We're done. Whereas in a cafe, you could be waiting there from 9 in the morning until 5 in the night. Maybe only sell 20 wraps. Whereas now we can go in, we can do 100 wraps and distribute them out from there, which works better for us. We've gone more from a caterer to a manufacturer, really.
Right, okay. And I guess from a business sense, if you've already got a petrol station or a shop that's interested in buying it, you sell it to them, and then it's up to them to sell it to the customers. So you've made your money there, haven't you, by selling it as stock?
We're actually sale or return with all our shops, because it's quite hard to get a fridge space. The prime location to stock something in a shop is the fridge. So everyone's a bit skeptical at the start, but I was confident in the product we sell. So I offered them all sale or return. So there's no risk in it for them. It's impossible for them to lose money. So if I take 20 meals there and they don't sell any, they don't get charged. They only get charged for what they sell.
Really?
Yeah, which works well for us and them. So it allows us to get into more shops.
Because there's no risk.
There's no risk at all. There's only one. What I've learned now is the owners of these shops are telling me their secondary spend has gone up. There's people go in there, their fuel sales have increased because they're going to get meals and fuel on top. It's like a one-stop shop. So that was our way then to really get in there and wipe people out the fridge and get our products in there.
What, you really are an entrepreneur, Yos?
Well, you've got to think about outside the box, haven't you?
That's smart. Do you still operate the business in that way?
Yeah, still operate that way because we're still trying to get as many shops in as we can. And I find it works well for us as well, because I don't want if it wasn't sale or return, they wouldn't place as big of orders with us, whereas I always want stock on the shelf if I can. So we tend to load it up week on week. We grow weekly, and then until we have a handful of returns, that's when we call it a day there. We say, like, say we started with 5 meals, they all go 10 meals, they all go 15 meals. Say I get a few returns, we'll stick to 15 then.
Great. So Darwin service station has been your biggest customer, maybe, to date,
far, yeah,
which is great.
Busy, yeah.
Owen's group manage that, and it's great to see that they're all for new ideas in the community. It's great to see that. So that's been a success. Have you had many customers there? No petrol stations or shops where maybe it's not quite worked, and maybe what lessons have you learned from that? Yeah,
I tend to get a lot of messages sometimes asking if I can stock their shops, and I tend to have a gut instinct from the start, really, whether it's going to work in that area. There's a few things for us to consider, really, how busy their footfall is as it is. If there's a gym local, like we've got one in Croissants, which is a premier shop, which is near Snap Fitness. And I knew before we started stocking that would be busy because it's near a gym and things like that. And it's plenty of parking. There's a few factors to consider, which is why I like the fuel. That's my favourite, the fuel stations, because they're there for a reason. They're on the go. They don't have time to eat properly, and they grab a wrap on the go or a meal, because some of them have even put microwaves in now, so they can heat their meals up in the fuel station as well.
Fantastic. That's really good. Okay, well, that's great to hear that. So you've just finished your sixth form journey. You've qualified. You've got your A-levels. But life is going pretty well. You're running this business, and you're doing what you set out to do. It was to dream of having and running your own business like your parents. So, you're already doing it. Where does it go from there? You started to... you think with your strategy, right, we're going to go and stock these in local garages and things like that, and it's going well and you want to grow. How has the business grown from it being just yourself? Because early on, it would have been just you doing everything, right?
Yeah, I had a handful of staff before, mainly friends. Good friend of mine, Will Gaines, from school. I remember before I was in Clockwork.
Why is he called Gaines?
It's his actual surname. Oh, he's brilliant.
He's not just him, is he?
No, he doesn't go to the gym. Will Gaines, brilliant surname. I was in Clockwork Tavern on my own, doing the labelling the meals. It was 8 o'clock in the night, I think, on a Friday night.
Wow, I wouldn't have done that.
No, not many people would have at my age. And there was a knock on the door, and I looked over, and it was Will, because he only lives over the road from Clockwork, and he wasn't working with me at the time. And he was asking... called over to see if he wanted a hand. So I thought, fair play to him. He came in, helped me. He started working with me then. From the start then, he was my right-hand man. Did everything together. He helped me so much during the start of the business. Then he went to Chester University then. So he moved away. So I'm excited for him to come back from uni, try and convince him to have a full-time job with us. That's the goal. Well, that'll happen, yeah. The gains, I don't know. He was in the video, storming into the kitchen saying he was full of turkey.
Oh, that guy.
Christmas,
I know he got now.
Christmas is over him. So yeah, fingers crossed he comes back and works for us full-time. But yeah, the team has grown since Clockwork. There's only like part-time everyone's working then. I was obviously part-time as well because I was in school. Gone through a fair bit of chefs as well from when we started. Typically, they're quite hard to manage. They can be known for being quite feisty. Chefs can be, but I've been so lucky with the ones I've had. They've been brilliant. Like they usually used to work in unsociable hours and things. But with Lean Kitchen, obviously, we're in early morning. And we finish about midday. But the chefs usually don't really get busy from like 5 in the evening until 11 o'clock in the night. So it's quite appealing for a chef to work with us.
So from an industry perspective, with how chefs work, you're offering chefs a different way of working because, yes, maybe they're coming in early morning, but then kind of like maybe some of the bin men who work in the council,
exactly.
They get paid for a full day's work, but they finish by an earlier time.
So that's when I advertised before for a chef when I was left. Put the advert up on Indeed. So many phone calls, applicants, and usually chefs are hard to come by. It's so many applicants because of how appealing the hours were. Because there's not many, you can't really do many chef jobs whilst finishing at midday. It's like unheard of to be a chef.
Yeah, and it's unsociable, isn't it? Because most people are working weekends, isn't it? And late nights in hospitality. So yeah, great. For any chefs on a job, are you taking on any chefs?
No, we're good for now.
Too busy. Maybe Lean Kitchen Mark II. But let's talk about growth, right? So, you're a young lad who's just set up this business. You physically bought it. You've brought it to Llanelli. You've tried some things out. You've tried the different kitchens. You've moved between one location to the next. And you're in Robert Davis Health and Fitness Centre for a while. And then as the business was growing, you needed more space. So you're then looking at the next stage of growth. What was that like for you in terms of risk and the challenges for maybe finding the right location?
Stressful. Probably the riskiest move we've done to date. The biggest project I took on by far. But I knew I had to do it to grow, to get to the next level. The unit we're in now is probably 2-3 times the size of the one we had in Robert Davis. So it's much better for us. Functionally, it's just much better because it was an empty shell, which meant it was more expensive for me to kit it out. But at least then I knew this is how we want it. And I had a month to do it as well.
Wow.
Yeah, which was stressful. There was like a ticking time bomb. And somehow we managed to do it without stopping trading. So we finished.
That's good.
Yeah, which was crucial because obviously a lot of people rely on our meals. Like if we can't cook, some people genuinely know when we say we're not cooking for the weekend, I'll get messages saying, what am I going to eat? I can't cook. And I think, how do they survive before Lean Kitchen? It's bonkers. It's like constant pressure. We finished cooking on a Wednesday afternoon in Robert Davis gym. That was our last cook day there. We took everything over to the new kitchen on that Wednesday afternoon. Thursday then, we were in the new unit. Transitioned over in the day.
Crazy.
But we were working behind the scenes, getting that unit ready whilst operating in Ardy's.
Were you cooking in your kitchen of the house?
No, thankfully not. No, we only ever had to do that once, right at the start of the business. Between the tennis club and Robert Davis, I think, for that one weekend. Couldn't quite. My plan in there wasn't quite as good. So yeah.
Who was doing the dishes then?
My mother.
Well done, Mum. Well done, Mum. So yeah, you had to look to a new location to grow. Still in Llanelli, which is great to hear. So where does that take you now in terms of the team, the business? So how many people work in Lean Kitchen indirectly?
There's 8 of us on the books now. We've got a full-time chef, Emily. She's brilliant. She's come on. She joined us March last year. She was the sous chef, but then the head chef left to go to a different job. So she is now the head chef with us. And I kind of, when we get really busy, I jump on with her. But I try and stay out of the kitchen as much as I can so I can grow. Because there's so many other aspects of the business to focus on as well. And I don't like letting them slip behind, like the marketing, for example. I even like all the admin work, processing the orders, the accounts. There's so many behind the scene things that not everyone sees.
You're doing it all.
At the minute, yeah. And I am more hands-on than I'd like to be at the minute in the kitchen. Just because we're so busy, really. And, not enough time. I know it sounds stupid, but I haven't had time to actually recruit somebody yet and have the time to train them up. So at the minute, I'm in like this hamster wheel where I'm hands-on in the kitchen and, yeah, looking forward for a bit of not looking forward, but there'll be a bit of a quieter spell after January once the New Year's resolutions are over and have some time to recruit.
To it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. And, it's tough growth and finding the right people. That's what I found in business is really challenging, is finding the right people. Because if you find the wrong person, that can impact you. And I'm sure with you, your main goal is making sure your customers get their food.
100%.
And if any of that doesn't happen, then that could be quite bad for business and reputation, service. And the good thing is you get repeat customers in most cases. So if they have a bad meal or a bad service, they might not come back to you. They might go to HelloFresh or Gusto's, or all these type of services are already exist. Obviously, yours is very unique because the food is there, right? It takes the preparation out, which I think is very valuable. So it's probably important that you trust the right people.
Yeah, and with food as well, especially, quite fickle. Like, you can easily upset. Everyone's taste is different. Like, I'll put one thing on the menu, everyone's raving about it, and then somebody else tell me, I wasn't a fan of that. But it's just personal preference. It's quite hard in food, but I try and lay this message onto the staff, just consistency. Like, our customers, for example, of being consistent, they're ordering with us every week. So the least we can do is be consistent back with them. I'd rather my staff be 8 out of 10 every shift and 10 out of 10 one shift and 2 out of 10 another shift. I really try and lay that message onto them.
Brilliant, yeah. Consistency. That's a good tip for those listening in business. So what does the future and the vision look like for Lean Kitchen?
Try and really scale the business now. I'm happy with the concept we've got now and where we are. It's just doing more of what we're doing. Finding more shops, like we started the new one this week in the Drefach fuel station, the Nisa local there, which is a really busy fuel station. So I'm excited to get that going and just building that up, really. I think we're up to about 12 stockists now. I'd like to get that up to 20 plus by the end of the year and, consistently get over 1,000 meals of the meal prep. Like, we're doing that now in January, but I'd like to do that throughout the whole year. And, fingers crossed by the end of the year, maybe do 1,500 meals in one weekend. That'll be brilliant for us.
Yeah. And you enjoy playing rugby?
Yes, yeah. I did. I had to sacrifice that at the start of the business. Couldn't play when I was 18, 19. I was on and off, really bad. Like, I play 1 week because I got asked to play 2 or 3 weeks off, train once maybe. It was so inconsistent because work was so up and down. Didn't know where I was going to be from 1 minute to the next, really. But now that I've got a good team in place, I'm off every Saturday. I'm off every Tuesday and Saturday now.
Non-negotiable?
Non-negotiable now. I have to play rugby Saturday. It's nice to have some routine and have some life back again. I'm really enjoying my rugby at the minute. I was speaking to you earlier before this podcast started and you mentioned your shoulder. One thing I'm worried about every week is, what if I get injured? How would we cope? And it could put you out of action for a month, you said, didn't you?
Yeah, I was out to work for 6 weeks maybe, in terms of what I was physically used to be able to do, to go out and filming customers, to actually editing. I couldn't drive, so I couldn't even go to physical meetings. My wife was my chauffeur for about 6 weeks. Luckily, she was in a position to actually chauffeur me. But yeah, for me, that was a tough pill to swallow, because I had to make the decision on quitting the sport I love, which is rugby. And it's very, very difficult because, that was something for me with mental health and things like that. Playing rugby, it's just something I love doing, because you could just switch off for, a couple of hours on a Saturday, play some rugby. And like football, you could be, I would know, from the likes of Kidwelly, Buryport, Tymsara, all these local teams, right? When you play against those guys, there's a lot of rivalry.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe a couple of scraps on the field, right? But after the game, unlike football, your mates, you'd be buying pints for people you'd be playing rugby with. And you'd maybe sing a couple of songs. I just love that community of rugby. For me, I was thinking, well, can I afford to actually carry on playing? Because it took me out of the game, and I was in a really, really difficult position. Because actually, for me, January last year, when I did it, that was probably the worst month ever in business and my marriage, because of the financial consequences of that. It was really tough. So I guess for you, with having a team in place, because for me, I wasn't that well equipped at the time. I didn't have a real strong team around me that could support me. But I guess if you get injured now, okay, who's going to do the accounts? But maybe if somebody's doing the majority of the food prep, does that give you confidence to keep playing on Saturday?
Yes, it does. I'd have to delegate my jobs a little bit better, I think. It wouldn't be ideal, obviously, by no means, but we would manage. Touch wood now, because I've got a game tomorrow. Hopefully nothing happens tomorrow.
Who are you playing?
Bont and I's home tomorrow.
Oh, Bont Kidwilly.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is going to go out after the game, so score predictions?
Bottom of the table clash, really. It's a relegation battle now. We've somehow found...
Kidwilly in the bottom?
Yeah, don't ask. We've somehow found ourselves at the bottom.
Lincoln, Furness are doing well.
Underachieving like mad at the minute. I don't know what's going on. So yeah, fingers crossed we win tomorrow, get some momentum back.
Yeah, good. But there is risk, isn't there? And I think it's good to have. Well, even this, if you do get injured, at least you're going to get your food covered, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. You know the score.
Brilliant. This has been so good, and there's some good insights for you as an 18-year-old leaving school, having created and bought a business. I think is brilliant, mate. It's a really, really good story, and I'd love for you to maybe share some advice. If there are any young people in Llanelli who are just coming out to school, maybe don't want to go to sixth form, don't want to go to college, they want to set up a business. What advice would you give to any young people who maybe have a passion for starting something?
I know it's quite cliche, but I'd say just go for it, which is what I did. Just don't think about it until it's too late, really. As in, if that's the only choice to make it work, then it's got to work. And I gave myself no other solution. I had to work with me. And yeah, university, I think I was one of the only ones in my friendship group not to go. So I did feel a bit left out, but you know, they can go on to university, and then after 4 years, they don't do that qualification in the end. So essentially they've wasted 4 years, which is okay, because not everyone knows what they want to do yet, which is fine. If you want to start a business at 18, which that's the best time to start it, in my opinion, because I was still living at home with my parents, didn't really have anything to lose. If it wasn't to work, I wasn't going to be homeless, didn't have a mortgage, didn't have kids. So yeah, which is still the case now. I'm still living at home, so I can still keep risking things within reason. Not going to throw the business away. Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to just throw the business away. Yeah, so it's about growing like that. I wouldn't have been able to invest all that money I did into the kitchen to grow if I had my own house, had my own mortgage and things like that. So I think that's key. It's probably the best time to start.
Sure, I've never thought about that, because yeah, it really is. Yeah. I think I must have been 20 odd when I set up my own business, and for me at the time, I don't think I had a mortgage. I still don't have kids, so those sorts of factors made the risk a lot easier. It was still a big risk, right? Because ultimately I had to quit my full-time job to go and study. That's the sort of route that I chose. But I think actually, 18 years old, or you could even be 16 with all that minimal responsibility. There's never a better time to start a business.
You can never be prepared for business. You don't know what challenges you're going to face. So in my opinion, you may as well face them young. So you can't go to university and learn about business, in my opinion. So yeah, you may as well go for it.
What if you do a business degree? Does that teach you about business?
Well, controversial. I don't know. I don't think every problem I've come across with in kitchen, I don't think I could have learned it in the classroom, which may be controversial, but it's true, I think, in my opinion.
No, you're right. And I think for me, right, I studied filmmaking. One of the reasons I chose UWTSD in Carmarthen, simply because one of the modules that they teach him was entrepreneurship. I built up a bit of a network early days before I set the business up. I was into like short films, so I was helping people make short film documentaries. I do a lot of behind the scenes photography and things like that. So I got to know a lot of people in the industry who were making films. And it was more so for fun, right? But most of my mates at the time were qualified and had degrees in film and TV and things. But then some of them were working in Tesco's, some were working in Domino's. I was asking myself, why aren't these guys working in industry? And I think for me, the penny dropped that they actually didn't learn how to make money using their creative disciplines.
Yeah, 100%.
So when I was looking to go to university, I thought, you know what, I had a passion for telling stories. I thought I'd love to learn how to run a business, doing this sort of thing. I'm going to go to university. And for me, when I was in Stradi, in my second year of sixth form, I dropped out. I remember speaking to Adam Powell in the office. Adam, fi'n mynd. Ble ti'n mynd? Oh, fi'n gadael. I'm not going to uni now. I wanted to be a sports teacher. That's what I wanted to do. Daniel Evans, right, was my hero growing up. I thought he gets paid to teach year seveners how to play rugby. What a job.
What a dream job.
And all of a sudden, overnight, I didn't want to go to Cardiff Uni anymore. I spent nearly 2 years studying those A-levels to then go and do that course. And then all of a sudden, I didn't want to do that. And then, lots of things happened in my life. I became a Christian, radically changed the direction of my life. And then when I started to experience creative media, I thought, I'd love to run a business with that. But for me, the biggest thing was that this university in Carmarthen teached entrepreneurship. They actually teached you how to sell yourself as a filmmaker, as a creative, how to actually do your taxes and P&Ls and all those things you need to do in business.
That should be taught in school.
It should.
I think, because
it should.
When I got thrown straight in the deep end, straight from A-levels to business. Didn't learn half the things I need to know I didn't learn in school. So I think something needs to change there, but it'll probably be years until something happens about that. But it would be good, because it'd be a lot less stressful for me now. Taxes, things like that. You would have to go to university to do that. Why isn't that taught in school? I don't know.
It pays to have a good accountant if you help with taxes.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the What's Your Story podcast, we're all about hearing business stories, personal stories. I've got to hear a little bit about the Lean Kitchen history, which I've learned a lot. I thought I knew a lot about Lean Kitchen, but actually I didn't know enough. Whose story would you love to hear? If you had the opportunity to sit down with somebody, it could be at this very table, or it could be somebody fictional, somebody that you'd love to get to know. Who has been really influential and inspirational in your life, in your business journey maybe, and you'd love to maybe just unpick their brains?
Very good question. I would say Ben Francis, the owner of Gymshark, just to see how we started the journey. He's quite transparent with it on his Instagram and things, and to see what he's built that up to now. I would like to speak to him about the challenges he faced at the start. How did he have so much belief in himself to really scale it it's worldwide. It's one of the biggest companies in the world now. And he started from his bedroom, just designing things on his laptop and things. So yeah, I think it'd be Ben Francis.
That would be a good episode. I'd listen to that.
Should we try and get him on? Yeah.
Yes, let's try and get him on. Try and get him on the What's His Story. He's done some unreal things in that sort of space, and he's created a brand, and people wear the brand everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just something he started himself as a young lad. So yeah, that would be a
I'd say him.
Pretty cool episode.
That'd be a good one.
That would be a good one, wouldn't it? Okay, and just to close, we've talked a little bit about business. We've talked a lot about risk and the risks you've taken as a business owner. I just love to know, because it's quite clear that you've worked hard. You've worked hard over these years to build a business to what it is now. From what I can see, a successful business. There's still lots of work to do.
Definitely.
Because like me, if you were to take your business up another gear, there's more risk. But with lots of risk, there is reward, right? So what are maybe some of your personal values that you've taken on board that really help you graft and work?
Try not to move the goalposts as much as I used to. I'd always achieve something and then move the goalposts. I want to achieve that. So kind of being grateful for the moment. Like 4 years ago, I'd have given anything to be in the position I'm in right now. So it's just kind of being present in the moment, being grateful for what I've already got. So that's huge, because I was guilty of that at the start, constantly chasing the next thing. But yeah, when you look back at what we've achieved so far, like I said just now, I'd done anything for that a few years ago. So
well done, mate. I'm sure you can reflect on today and look back and be proud of where you have come from and where you're going. So well done, mate. As a fellow Llanelli business owner, it's great to see that you can succeed. If you're from Llanelli, you can succeed 100%. In business, whether it's creative industries, whether it's health and fitness. We can all succeed wherever we're from. And I believe there's no better place to work, live than Llanelli.
And home, yeah, I agree.
And home. So thank you for coming on. If anyone wants to know more about Lean Kitchen, how can they find out? Are you on social media? Do you have a website and all those things? How can people reach out to you, Yos?
We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, pretty much everything. Lean Kitchen Wales, or our website is leankitchen.org.uk.
Brilliant. And you got some coupons for Stori Cymru listeners?
Yeah, coming soon.
Coming soon. After Bondybear beat Cymru there.
Bondybear Lais.
Oh, Bondybear Lais. The local derby. Thanks for coming on. Diolch yn fawr am dod. And I'm looking forward to hearing Episode 2 of Lean Kitchen.
Diolch yn fawr.